I didn't die, but boy, was I jacked up. Here's what happened. The body's an amazing machine. It knows when you've suffered a catastrophic failure, shuts down, and stops the record button in your brain. I felt no pain, and I don't remember anything about my injuries from the actual fall. The first thing I remember is walking up the service road from the reservoir, and my shoes were making this squishy noise with every step, and I kept falling. It was like a computer rebooting and doing a systems check. I was observing everything that was happening, and internally I kept asking myself questions. Why are my shoes wet? Where am I? What are we doing? Why do I keep falling? The first thing that I asked out loud was, what happened? Peter and Randy shouted at me, "You fell off the rope." Wow, that was aggressive. But like I say, that's the first thing that I remember. According to them, what was actually happening was, what happened? You fell off the rope, Darryl. What happened? I was in shock, traumatized, badly hurt, and under the medical supervision of two 13-year-olds. We all did the best we could. There was no way to call for help, so we had to walk to Peter's house, which was the closest. I'm fairly sure Peter's mom was a nurse, and he had a little sister who was a toddler, and he had a dog, a Dalmatian, who I believe's name was Penny. When Peter's mom opened the door, she had her daughter in her arms, and Penny came running around the door. She looked at me, grabbed the baby's face, and turned her head. The dog was wagging her tail, looked at me, dropped her tail between her legs, and then just started backing up and walked away. I remember thinking, what's their problem? Mrs. Small took control. She told him, get him inside. Then she started barking orders like you see in every medical drama. Randy, get him in the bathroom. Peter, take your sister. Penny, pull the car around front. Okay, she didn't tell the dog to pull the car around front, but she could have, and the dog would have listened. While I sat in the bathroom, I wanted to know, what is all the fuss about? So it was a bit of a struggle, but I kind of stood up and then I turned to look in the mirror. It was crazy. All I saw was blood just all over my face and all in my hair. It looked like the scene from Carrie, except it was real. Mrs. Small managed to get me in the car and took me home. My sister answered the door. Now, I remember my sister answered the door and said, "Ew, what happened to you?" But I talked to her about it recently, and what she remembered was she opened the door and she said she was so frightened because she had never seen anything like that before. She just remembers saying, "Mom," that's it. When the front door opened, you could look directly through the house into the kitchen. There my mother was on the phone. And as she's having this conversation, she just turns and looks. "Oh my God, what happened to you? Oh my God, ah!" I remember, I was like, "Mom, I'm okay." Not. I don't think they waited for an ambulance. They got me in the car and flew to the ER at Morristown Memorial Hospital. We all know how busy ERs can be, and the wait to see a doctor can be notoriously long. Unless you walk through the door with a bloodied up teenager who's disfigured and has limbs pointing in strange directions, then they just walk you right in. I hear the doctors tell my mother because of my concussion, they're going to set my arm, wrist, without giving me any anesthetic. My mother goes off. "No, you will not. You are not going to hurt my child. No, this is not going to happen. You are not going to hurt my baby like that." Ah! She proceeds to evoke rule number 1 from the International Code of Conduct from the Mother's Handbook. "Hurt my child, and I will kill you." The doctor found that argument to be persuasive and agreed to give me a local anesthetic. The anesthesiologist was this very nice doctor who was very caring, but spoke really fast and had a heavy Indian accent. Darryl, I know you're not feeling well, but I'm going to help you right now. I'm going to give you this needle. When I do, I'm going to stick it under your arm. When I do, I want you to tell me when you feel it in your little pinky finger. Okay, let's begin right now. I'm going to take the needle. When I do, I'm going to stick it under your arm. When I do, I want you to tell me when you feel it in your little pinky finger. Wait. Say that again. I'm going to take the needle right here and I'm going to stick it under your arm. When I do, I want you to tell me when you feel it in your little pinky finger. Okay. So he sticks me under my arm. Where do you feel it now? Here? It's not supposed to be there. Let's try it again. He sticks me again. Now look, I don't know if any of you have ever had a needle stuck under your underarm, but that hurts. Unlike everything else that happened to me, I felt all of that. And it hurt. He stuck me like 5 times. Finally, I just said, "Stop stabbing me!" Once my arm was in a cast, the doctors told my mother their concern was that I had fractured my wrist in the growth spot. And as I got older, my arm could retard or accelerate, leaving me with 2 different length arms. Seriously. Then the doctors told her that they couldn't set my broken nose right away because they needed to wait for my eye socket to settle because they were concerned that my eye was going to roll into my head. Seriously. My dad got home the next day and came to the hospital. Remember, I'm 13 years old. I had just discovered girls, and how I looked was very important to me. So I asked my dad, "How do I look?" "Son, don't worry about that now." "Dad, how do I look?" "Son, let's not even talk about that right now." "Dad, how do I look?" That's pretty bold. So we got the tray at the hospital that you would eat on, and you could roll it over to the bed, and it had a mirror inside that would lift up. And he lifted up the mirror, and then he took my hand. I turned and looked in the mirror. My eye was completely shut and the size of a lemon. My nose was all to the left. My lips were huge, contusions busted. I had stitches. The hair was all tangled with blood. The entire right side of my face was a giant scab. And I was devastated. I remember I just looked at that and I grabbed the mirror. I closed it down. I turned my head away from my dad and I just started crying. I remember it like it was yesterday. I was just devastated. In the days that followed, the doctors did set my nose, and they did a pretty good job. Unless you see my sister, because our noses used to be identical, mine's a little different. Hers is more the genetic one we were born with. You can't really tell the difference. Most people don't look at me and know that I badly fractured my nose. As you can tell, my eye is still in its socket. That worked out. And my arms are the same length. After a little dental surgery and braces, the 4 teeth that got knocked out actually made room for all of my wisdom teeth to come in. Thanks to them, I've never done anything as colossally stupid as that ever again. That's it for this week. Thanks for watching. Be sure to subscribe, like, leave me a comment, and until next Thursday, that is what happened.